Bro.
They're gonna be pissed.
Furious. That's the best thing about it, is pissing off everyone who hasn't got one. 60 in the world. 60 in the world, Luke.
Man.
How did we pull this off? Didn't I see you working in Chipotle?
Yeah.
Bro, Tristan used to...
I was a brokey.
You were a brokey. Tristan used to work in Pret. He was a brokey. And I used to work in a fishmonger's carrying boxes of ice.
We used to be brokies.
We were brokies.
I want to make something very clear. I come from a very poor family. My mother and father broke up when I was 11. My father stayed in America to play chess. There's no money in pro chess. My mom and I, we all moved to a homeless shelter in Luton, England. I grew up in a homeless shelter. So I grew up as poor as you can go. And I went to a council house, went to a really bad school.
Full house. It's just us two. Oh, you're full? Full. Okay.
Nathan and Andrew have been looking for a cheap hotel for well over an hour, but haven't been able to find anywhere within their budget.
I had no money. I'm carrying boxes of ice. I'm a smart guy. I'm not playing chess anymore, right? Oh, I need to do something which drains me so that I can go to sleep at night without frustration. And if I kickbox, if I run 3 miles to the gym and then fight for 3 hours and run 3 miles home, at least I can sleep. I literally couldn't sleep. Kickboxing was my answer. I just started kicking people's ass and I just felt a little bit better. That was kind of how it worked.
When I was 21, me and Andrew used to have no food. I used to drive my broken Volkswagen Golf to the KFC restaurant in Dunstable, United Kingdom, and I used to sit in my car. And you couldn't ever eat anyone's leftover food if they ever had their mouth on it, but at KFC, they used to buy buckets. And I would sit and wait for people to sit outside, eat their meal, and leave the bucket on the table. And I used to go and take that bucket, 3 or 4 pieces of chicken, and I used to collect 20, 30, 40 pieces of chicken that were perfectly fine left in the buckets. And I used to go home and I used to freeze that chicken. And me and Andrew would break it up, put it in our rice, and that was our meal. That's what sustained us for that hard year, that year we had when I was 21 and you were 22. That's how broke we were. I used to scavenge chicken from KFC because I thought, fuck it, I'm not dying, and I'm not losing my kickboxing fights because I don't have enough protein. What am I going to do to make it through the day? That's how broke I was.
Grow up around a bunch of other poor kids, and we'd be walking to school or walking to college, and a Ferrari would drive past. And they'd go, oh, cool, Ferrari. And I'd say, doesn't that annoy you? And they're like, what do you mean? He knows, he's hacked the matrix. Don't you see? How does he have 400 grand for a car? He knows something we don't know. Aren't you annoyed that there's people out there living a lifestyle that we can't ever aspire to? We're never gonna work a job and pull this off. Doesn't this bother you? And they all be like, no. But me, I was always angry.
One of the most telling points of mine in Andrew's life is at the time he was just fighting. Because Andrew turned around to me one day when I got home and he said, you know, bro, I'm just going to start selling for insulated conservatories. I'm going to get you a job. We'll combine our money. We'll be on £3,000 a week. It's not bad. I looked at him in the eye. I said, Andrew, you can't do that. You can't accept that job. You can't come work for my company, because once you do, then that's who we're going to be. You've got to think of something better. You do your training, you do your fighting, you're exhausted all day. Take the time, spend the day thinking, researching, and find something better. I'm going to go and make the money. I'm going to make sure that our heads stay above water. And that's one of the most important decisions we ever made.
So I sat in my room. Next day I wake up. All right, I need to get rich. And I'm starting from nothing, right? So I get on my laptop and I start Googling, what is money? Where does it come from? How does money work? And then I started learning about fractional reserve banking, the Federal Reserve, how it's not linked to gold anymore. I didn't even understand how banks work. I didn't understand any of this shit. I started looking it all up, and I spent a good 3 or 4 days studying. And then I got really angry because I realized that money is bullshit. It's all a lie. It's printed from the sky, and I still don't have any.
Are all the no Bugatti people poor?
Of course they are!
Are we all, like, but Lambo owners poor?
Yeah.
Oh, shit! This thing goes! I
Now the most famous man on the planet. I'm more Googled than Donald Trump, Joe Biden. I've conquered the world. Whoa!
How much are you worth?
I'm a billionaire by now.
This week in between Christmas and New Year is perhaps the most wasted week of the year. Nobody does anything significant. You're sitting around, it's just been Christmas, and you just want to wait, etc., etc., etc. If you start at the same time as everybody else, you don't have an advantage over everybody else. If you're going to run a race, you want to go first, don't you? So do you have to wait for the calendar to reset because you really need that little bit of extra motivation to not be a lazy piece of shit? Do you need to see a number 1 on the calendar to get up and get your work done?
The winter's New Year. The winter's New Year begins directly after Christmas because you have Christmas Day, you sit around with your family, you eat food, you listen to your aunt, you see that cousin who thinks they're successful. I actually just got into college. Imagine getting into college. If you work hard while everyone else is resting, for some reason that work you do is double as powerful. God is watching the work, and he has a big pile of benefits. He's saying, who's doing work right now so I can give them some benefits? And on a normal day, X amount of billion people are doing work, so he hands out some benefits. But on a day when everyone else is being lazy, when you do work, when he divvies up the benefits for the work, you're gonna get more for it. So right now, we're in a time vacuum. We're in a period of time, the days between Christmas and New Year, where everybody wastes their life. If I were to ask you, what did you do with the days between Christmas and New Year last year? You wouldn't even be able to tell me. You believe you can waste the following days between Christmas and New Year because you think, Tristan, these people at home think that they've had a hard year. I've worked hard this year, so I'm gonna just relax until the new year. I've done enough work. I've had a really difficult time. In fact, I've achieved a lot. Have you put a dent in the matrix like we have? No. Have you suffered in a Romanian jail cell like we have? No. Have you birthed any more children? Have you started $1 billion company? Were you the most Googled man alive? No, you've done nothing. And even after fucking up for a whole year, you think you need rest. You don't need rest. What you do need is to get a head start on the competition. On the 1st of January, when everyone tries to pull motivation out their ass, there's gonna be a week or so where people are gonna try really hard, and all the blessings from God have to be divvied up amongst all the peasants before they eventually quit and give up. These days, you're gonna get the most benefit from your work, which means you should double your work. Make hay while the sun shines. And because I am Top G, I have decided to offer you all something brilliant. Because I know most of you struggle with the basic tenet of dedication and motivation and concentration. You have TikTok brain. Your mind has been assassinated by the algorithms. This is the average person's life. He gets his phone. TikTok, 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 TikTok. Girl on Instagram. Hi. She doesn't reply because he's a loser. TikTok, TikTok. The Pornhub.
Twitter. Andrew's a human trafficker.
Twitter. I'm motivated. I want to be better. Okay, you have to do this. It's really hard. You have TikTok mind. Your mind get attacked. It's been fried like a fried egg. Imagine you're in bed and Top G walks into your room, grabs you by your hair, looks you dead in the eye, and tells you you're a fucking failure. By your hair, you're asleep. You're a fucking failure! And I dragged you to the gym, and I stood over you while you're on the machines. Puny 2000. You're on the puny machine with the lowest weight. Eventually, after X amount of hours in the worm gym, you might move on from the Punifier 2000 to the real man's machines. Point is, you can do it. You just need someone to make you do it. And I'm not gonna fly around the world grabbing you all by your hair. But what I am gonna do is give you an opportunity where you can be forced to dedicate yourself for once in your life. During these days, between Christmas and New Year, I'm offering a special package for the real world where you get 2 months for free. You get access to an accountability manager and you get access to the real world platform. So instead, you have to be a man. And when a man says he's going to do something, he does it even if it's hard. Join the real world for an entire year with an accountability manager who's going to make sure you work.
Warning. You are not stupid. You are lazy, you're entitled, you're arrogant, but you're not actually stupid. I could take you from your little pathetic life and put you down in a chair and make you do the things you're supposed to do, and you could achieve. Last year, during these exact days, you did nothing. New Year's Eve came, you made yourself all these promises, and a week later, you were still a fuck up. Here we are 1 year later, you are still a nobody. The days when losers rest, winners are gonna begin to work. You have absolutely nothing else to do. You may as well get a head start so 2024 allows you to live a life worth living so you don't stay a peasant and a peon any longer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up a special enrollment for a special class inside of the real world, which is only available during these days. Not only will you get 12 months inside of the real world platform, you'll also get access to an accountability manager and a new form of Aikido, which we can only teach to people that is guaranteed to be inside of the program for long periods of time. You commit like a man. If you're gonna do something, there's no point in doing it half-assed. You don't get anywhere in life if you half do something. You either don't do it or you do it. Binary.
Devote 1 year to the real world and get 2 months completely free. Exclusive access to the Champions Network and lessons. Only available for the next 6 days. So act now.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. As the rocket goes towards the moon, it doesn't stop halfway up. It doesn't take a break. It doesn't decide it's difficult at the moment because of the atmospheric pressure and it needs to have some time off. It continues to go because it is the momentum. Only the momentum that gives you the inertia required to escape gravity. Commit for once in your life and you might actually get some.